Yeah, we're good. Thanks, Ron. We do live stream our meetings, so you can watch them on YouTube if you want to see the meeting. Looks like we got, I don't know, 10,000 people watching. They came after the Indians game to watch this meeting, I guess.
Let down.
Yeah, that
So no pressure.
actually, I think we have one, and that's, I think, our computer. Two? Is your, okay. We'll wait till 7 o'clock. Todd, you guys want water?
I'm okay. I'm good.
Okay. Committee, everybody ready?
Yep.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Village of Walton Hills, October 2nd, 2025, Planning Commission meeting. First order, let's call to order. Second is Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. Roll call. Alexander Long,
Here.
here. Todd Toes,
Here?
Janice St. John,
Here.
Raymond Whedon,
Here.
and Mayor Colleran, along with our building commissioner and zoning inspector, Rob Kelman, our planner, George Smerigan. Thanks, everybody. We have item 4. Can I ask for a motion?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the Planning Commission meetings of April 3rd, 2025.
You just would abstain.
Second.
Okay. Vote on the motion. Alexander Long,
Abstain.
Todd Toes,
I wasn't here for that meeting either. Should I abstain?
yeah, yes,
Abstain.
okay. Janice St. John,
Yes.
Yes.
Ray Whedon, yes. Mayor Colleran, yes. And it's passed. Okay, any old business? Okay, we have nothing. Okay, new business. We have 3 items on the agenda. The first item, item A, 025-02, 7188 Northfield Road, Hot Grills Diner, addition to the building. If the representative from there would like to come up and tell us why you're here tonight.
Hi, everyone.
Good evening.
I've almost at that microphone. My name's Karen. I ran Hot Grills Diner since 2018, so just went through our 7th year anniversary in that location. It was a little rough start, especially with the pandemic and the egg crisis, which got us a write-up in the New York Times. But we're still here, we're still standing. We have a beautiful clientele that reaches across into Summit County and into Cuyahoga County. We have made 2 top 25 breakfast and brunch lists in Yelp and Cleveland.com. It's kind of cool to be recognized in those different ways. We are killing it with great, fresh made food Some of you I have seen, and we would like the chance to expand. I think that the one thing that I've always wanted to do is beautify the outside of the building. I think that it shows growth in the neighborhood, and I think that's important here. I think that also adding the additional 1,300 square feet gives us a little more room in the dining room. Actually, we'll be moving some of the chairs out of our overcrowded dining room into the new addition to spread everybody out a little bit. So it doesn't add a whole lot of seats, but it means the girls don't have to walk sideways to get through the dining room anymore. It also extends our kitchen area, and it extends our storage area, which we are completely out of storage room. We're piling boxes on boxes to keep things up off the floor. It gives us a nice additional space to do all of those things, and we are in what we call in the restaurant business in a restaurant desert, in a food desert. When it comes to places to eat on Northville Road, there's not a lot of choices, some fast food here and there. There's a few local restaurants that also do breakfast, nothing down in the village of Northfield. I think all they have for breakfast is McDonald's down there, and for dinner, Northfield Inn, Spinato's is gone. We would like to add dinner to our repertoire of service. I think this area begs for it. And with the wonderful name and the reviews that we've gotten ourselves on Google and Yelp, I think that it would blow up. I think it would be fantastic. Just like with our other meals, everything is fresh, top quality, reasonably priced, served with a smile, with a staff that has been with me most of the years I have been there. You got happy staff, you got happy customers. So yeah, we've hired an architect. They made some nice, pretty renderings for us, what the building was, what it'll be. I think it's an exciting new look, and I think it fits our theme.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. We did receive the review from Mr. Smerigan, our planner. It is a page and a half, so I'm not going to read the whole thing into the record.
I did read it.
Okay, good. I'll just kind of maybe read the last paragraph summary, and then we'll get comments from George and Rob Kelly. So in summary, this application requires preliminary site plan approval, architectural approval, and 2 setback variances. It is recommended that the preliminary site plan and architectural approval be granted subject to obtaining the setback variances. So that's just in summary. Does the Planning Commission have any questions for Karen before she sits down here a minute?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to say something. I'd like to congratulate you on your success. Very, very well deserved.
Thank you.
You may have seen my eyes light up when you mentioned dinner.
I think it's an amazing idea.
Yeah, it's, this looks very pretty to me. It looks like a very nice extension. The parking may need to be tweaked a little bit. I'm not sure how that's gonna work, but that's the only, and with the variances that you'll need.
Certainly.
But I think it's a great idea, and thank you for coming.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
George and Rob will touch base a little bit on the parking.
I would like to echo Janice's comments. You know, that building has been like the death of every other business that's tried to go in there, and it's so nice to see something successful, and I think what you're proposing to do will really improve the appearance of it.
Mhm.
So, win-win.
I agree.
Thank you.
Alexandra?
Yeah, no, I think these look really great, and it's really exciting. Fairly new to the village, so we've been there once for breakfast. It was amazing, and I can totally understand why you'd want a little more room for your servers.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, congrats and thank you.
Thank
This
you.
is great.
Right?
Yeah, Mayor Coldegraft, yeah, thank you again for coming tonight. I also appreciate the efforts to expand this existing business and to make it more attractive on the outside, beautify, if that's the right word, expanding the parking. But I just wanted you, if you could just talk a little bit about I know you're adding in or moving a door on the south side. Can you talk about how many entrances or exits there will be working? 'Cause I know the north side door, you guys don't
We
kind of
don't
know.
open it
So-
because they're like kind of right next to each other.
Yeah.
And to control traffic, and then so we will still have the front door.
Mhm.
We're going to enclose that canvas walkway. I think it would look better. I mean, canvas gets old and tired and the plastic windows get old and tired. I think making that a permanent part of the structure, number one, is, I think it'll look better. The appearance is an important thing, but I also, it's kind of like adding a foyer to the building where if you've been in, you see the tables right in front of the door. Nobody wants to sit there in the wintertime. If I've got another barrier outside the door, handicap ramp, so it's still accessible. And if we have to put in a push-button door at the end of that ramp for the handicap access, I will be happy to do so. But it also gives us another buffer against the wind coming through that front door. I thought about putting a foyer on the inside, there's just no room for that in the door. But you've got the main front door, the door facing north, it's still gonna be there. I'm debating on whether or not we're going to have it as an opening door. It really isn't necessary. I actually thought about closing it up on that side because we'll have another door on the new addition as well, serving as the emergency exit, just like the door that's now on the south side of the building. I don't want it to just be an entrance door. We like people to come up past the hostess desk for many reasons, to pay their checks, and also I like to talk to people on their way out the door. I like to ask, how was your food? If people say, why do you ask me that? Every time I come, I said, because I always want to be sure. Sometimes people don't say if something's wrong. I would like to know. I can't fix it if I don't know. So it gives me that opportunity to talk to people that walk through my door. It's a close-knit community. If you come in any weekend morning, everyone's sitting at the counter. They're all friends now. They didn't know each other years ago, but they've all come in every day and sat at that counter together. So we built a nice community inside the restaurant as well. But
Okay.
yeah, doors, the 3 doors so far, maybe the one doesn't stay. Depending on if that's a difficult thing or not, I'm open to discussing it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Along with the parking, do you guys get any sort of large deliveries, larger than like box truck size?
So some come on box trucks. We do have a couple that come in semis. Cisco usually does, and so does Gordon Foods. Depending on how this parking lot lays itself out,
Yeah,
I've already started conversations with both of those companies
okay,
as to when we could have a delivery where, I mean, I can choose windows.
okay,
And if they bring them in when we're not busy, if you come between 7 and 9 in the morning, the parking lot's not full. We don't start getting busy until the 9 to 10 because everybody wants to get in before breakfast is over during the week. But also with this new kitchen, we will extend breakfast, most of breakfast into lunch. So we won't have that cluster of people all at one time.
sure. I would just ensure that the new parking area can accommodate a semi-truck turnaround if it's
Right.
coming up into the area, since it can't go around the building anymore.
Well, my husband is a truck driver.
Great.
So we've discussed those angles and,
Okay.
and making sure that that can get done. And something else that we could bring up with the architect again to ensure that those things are clear passages for the trucks.
Great.
Any other questions for the applicant? George, Mr. Smergan, would you like to kind of go over your review, or did you want Rob to go first, or Mr. Kalman, or?
Just a couple quick comments.
Okay.
I think that clearly the facade improvements will be a great enhancement. you've all commented on that. I would concur with that. I don't think there's any question. In terms of the site plan, as I noted in the report, there's a requirement for a building setback variance and a parking setback variance. But what you have is a parcel that's undersized for the district. It's less than the minimum size that's permitted in that district, but it's already existing and it's legal non-conforming, so it's there. And you've got the building location is where the building location is, so you're stuck with that as well. So from the standpoint of the variances, and I know you're not making that decision this evening, that's for the Board of Zoning Appeals, but just so you understand my view of it, you know, as your professional consultant, you have with the lot size and the building location and existing parking arrangement, you have what I consider to be practical difficulties in terms of creating a basis for those variances. So I don't have any problem with recommending that you grant approval for the site plan and the architectural treatment subject to those variances, opposed to, you know, sometimes we table it and wait for the variance hearings. But in this case, I think that the practical difficulty clearly exists. I don't think there's any issue about granting those variances, and I'm sure the board's going to agree. The only other thing that came up, and it was in the engineer's report, had to do with the parking arrangement in the rear and the suggestion to go to a one-way traffic flow. I think that would enhance maneuverability in that parking lot. You don't lose any spaces. You get the same number of spaces. It doesn't change anything in terms of what they're doing in terms of pavement. It's just going to be pavement markings. So, but I think it would make a more functional flow. I think it would help with truck deliveries, and I certainly think that the other issue that the engineer and I discussed was it would be better if we hadn't ended up with any reason having to have the emergency services go there. I think it would make, because they're oversized vehicles, you know, it would make it easier for them in terms of maneuvering in that back parking lot. So the suggestion we are making is that you grant approval pending the approval of the variances by the Board of Zoning Appeals and contingent on the adjustment of that back parking lot to a one-way flow.
Karen, do you have any questions for?
It's funny because when I drew out my little graph paper parking lot for Rob in the beginning, I had it one way. I think it's a smoother move through the parking lot, and the front entrance will be entrance only. Chris Cordino, good customer of mine, local businessman, he's gonna make all our signs so that people know comes this way down, around the building, and in a circle, and out the back way will be entrance and exit. But one way was the original thing that I came up with, and the architects got it and did their thing, but I'm okay with one way, absolutely.
I just think it makes more sense.
I think it, creates no traffic nightmare. We'll paint the arrows on the ground, and we'll have signs that say, you can't go this way up through the building, you have to go out that way.
Our village engineer, Mr. Gelati, he couldn't make it here tonight, so that he's not here, but we do have George and Rob who are sharing his comments. And, Rob, did you want to add anything to George's report?
No, and Joe's absent. I was going to speak to his comments, but we've covered that.
Okay, they were related to the parking lot.
Well, related to parking and that's in your packets, and you got a copy of that this afternoon. Everybody's on the same page.
Real quick, relevant to the setback requirement, the other parameter that might affect the addition, there are fire separation requirements between buildings on separate lots. So I would ensure that you talk about that with your architect if it hasn't been brought up, because that could affect how far your building addition could get to the property line outside of our planning and zoning setback requirements.
Yeah, we did look at that. At the 10
Okay.
feet, they should be fine.
Okay, great.
Any other questions? Any questions from anybody else that's here? Anybody who's watching the live stream? I don't see anything. Would we like to make a motion? I can make it, or you want to make it, Janice?
I could?
I hear.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So I'd like to make a motion to approve, pending the variances from the Board of Zone Appeals for the side yard building setback, the south property line, and the rear yard parking setback, west property line, as described in the memo by Mr. George Smerigan dated September 24th, 2025, and contingent upon the creation of one directional traffic in the rear parking lot.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Todd Toyes. Vote on the motion. Alexander Long?
Yes?
Yes?
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Todd Toyes?
Yes.
Janice St. John?
Yes.
Ray Whedon?
Yes.
Mayor Colgraf, yes.
Thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome to stay. I'm sure my family's watching this right now. Okay. Get my bearings straight here a little bit. Put this together. Okay. Okay, we have item B, which is 02503, 7845 Northfield Road, Great Day Home Improvement signage. We'd like to present for them and tell us why you're here.
Of people here. Hi, my name is Melissa Skinner. I'm the Vice President of Marketing for Great Day Improvements. We are the third largest home improvement company in the country. We currently have a manufacturing space in Macedonia, and we are moving that space to Walton Hills, and we are looking to add additional signage for that building. I have with me Jack, who is part of Brilliant Electric Signs, which is our sign company, and I believe that you have the sign proposals for the building in front of you.
That is correct.
We are a direct-to-consumer business, and our image and is very important to us. We are bringing in several hundred jobs to the community of Walton Hills, and we hope to add a lot of business to the village. So we would like to have signs large enough to accommodate the building. We have a very large building space. Our north field frontage is 950 feet, and our Alexander Road frontage is 260 feet. And so we do need adequate signage to accommodate the building. And we're asking for several building signs, as well as a freestanding sign and directional signs for the truck traffic that we have. We have 30 trucks a day. 30 tractor trailers a day coming to the back of that building to carry materials, to and from all of our facilities across the country. We have about 400 offices across the country. And we also need directional signs for the employees in the parking. Okay. Anything else you'd like to add?
Hi, I'm, as stated, I am Jack from Brilliant Electric Sign Company. So through this process with such a unique property being on the corner, such a massive sized building and everything like that, with the different signs that we have presented here, we went through a lengthy design process coming up with every single different option and everything like that that would make sure that the name is presented professionally and looks very nice towards the building side of things. I don't know, do you want me to go through each sign just to kind of explain about each sign a little bit there? Or is everybody?
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
perfect.
Fine.
Okay, yeah, so for sign one, that would be like our freestanding sign there. It would be a manufacturer installed one double face, internally illuminated, back-to-back header cabinet. That would be flex faces. And then down below there would be an electronic message center on each side of the sign there. Face of the cabinet, as I stated, would be flex faces. And then it would be mounted on a pole that would be painted black there. And then for sign 2, there would be 3 total murals that would be painted on different elevations on the building there. Background to be blue, rays of the above the house there would be gold, and then all remaining copy would be painted white. On option 3, with the directional signs there, again, as us having the tractor trailers coming in and out, we wanted to make sure that these were completely visible for them, safety of traffic flow, everything like that, just to make sure these are gonna be 2, manufactured installed 2 single-face non-illuminated post and panel signs on 2-inch square tubes. Graphics to be first surface, digitally printed graphics, and everything to be painted blue. And then the 4th was the dock bay, just for the trucks coming in, knowing which bay to go to for deliveries and picking up for that location. I don't know if there's any questions on any of those.
Can I ask, will any part of it be customer facing at all? Would they enter this building at all, or not really?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Would any part of the facility be customer facing at all?
Yes, so the Northfield Road side is the main entrance, and that
Okay.
is customer facing as well as employee entrance.
Okay, just because, well, I might consider just entrance signage on which door in building, because it's not totally clear where the entrance is with the signage right now.
The plan is to have like window cling on the main door that says entrance.
Okay, I gotcha.
And that wasn't part of this. These were just wall-mounted and freestanding signs and directional signs that were actually on the facility or the property itself.
Okay.
We would have clear signs on the door that said entrance, so that people would know once they pulled into the building that that is the main entrance door.
Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mayor Colgrove?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you all for coming, and I just have a couple questions. No questions on signs 3 and 4, but I'll go backwards from 2 and then to 1. Sign 2. Can you just make clear what those locations are? Because are those on the Northfield Road side of the building? Can you?
2 of the signs would be on the Northfield Road side, and
Okay.
1 sign would be on the Alexander Road side.
Okay.
Because of the Northfield frontage, there is, I mean, again, we have 950 feet. And there is a tree line that goes the entire length of Northfield Road as well as Alexander Road. So, you know, from the front of the building, it is blocked in view in multiple places as you're going down Northfield Road, which is why for 2 signs in that spot. Those would be painted signs on the front side, the Northfield side elevation.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
For making that clear.
Sure.
And as you touched on the tree line,
Yes.
that's why I wanted to go to this last one, number 1, or sign 1. How does this fit in with the existing tree lines that you guys, well, the developers were so kind to save and you know, include in the initial design of that property?
Mm-hmm. Well,
Where
that's
does this fit?
the freestanding sign.
Yes.
So that's part of the reason for the height, is that we do have a tree line to contend with. And we, like the property owners, did not want to cut down any trees. We would love to save as many trees as possible. And so that was part of the reason for having that freestanding sign be at that 40-foot height, because we do have those trees to contend with.
So this sign would be behind the tree line,
Behind the
sort of
tree
like
line.
top of the hill?
On the elevation of the hill, yes.
Okay.
So you can see from picture on page, thank you, 2. It is kind of on the base going up to that hill elevation. That is where that pole is going to be, because we've got to run electric to that sign from the building. So, and the electric hookup on our building is on the back side of the Alexander Road side of the building. Thank you. Our hookup is there, so we've got to run electric through the building and then tunnel electric underneath that parking lot, and so we don't want to go too far off that hill. So that sign will hit the elevation of that hill. So we've got elevation to contend with, we've got trees to contend with, which is the reason for the height.
Okay, thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand that. I know the trees were, were a somewhat of a concern and priority, that, that site had a certain type of exit entrance into that whole property and that whole area, that the trees in and of themselves would enhance the area, and I'm just concerned, I'm just, without being able to really see it, I was concerned at how a 40-foot sign above the tree line actually would impact with that
So
overall view.
I have several photos of the intersection, if you'd like to see.
Yes.
And I can pass those around.
And right, this kind of gives, as far as the commission, you probably look,
Mhm.
give you a good idea kind of where it is in relation to the corner.
Yeah.
Probably the ceiling in this room is around 20 feet.
It's very
So
tall.
that would be the bottom of the sign.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, when you actually look at the elevation of the building,
Thanks.
that 40 feet is not a lot.
Yeah, how tall is the building?
Building 30-foot ceilings, correct?
Yes.
30-foot ceilings.
And then inside.
Interior?
42 outside.
On the outside?
42 outside.
42 outside.
Okay.
So by dropping the base of the sign, to the bottom of the hill, we're not, that freestanding sign is not going to be to the height of the building.
Could you repeat that, please?
So the total height of the sign is 40 feet. If the total height of the building is 42 feet, and we're putting the base of that sign on the hill or slightly above or slightly below that hill, then that sign is not going to be above the height of the building.
Oh, I see.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because the elevation from the street
Yeah,
Exactly.
is taller than.
Because you have a considerable elevation from street view up the hill, and then you've got 42
Okay.
feet of height. So again, I think there was a comment that this was going to be a very monstrous sign. It's really not when you look at the context of the sign itself. And yes, there are trees that are on that corner. There are trees that are there. Some may have to be pruned a little bit, but we want to keep the integrity of the space. We want to keep the integrity of the trees. It's important for us to have a beautiful corner lot. I'm sure it's important to the village to, keep the aesthetics of that space.
Thank you.
So, and you can see from scale on page 4, there is a tractor trailer that is sitting there next to the building right now, that is on that hill. And that tractor trailer, the height of it is about 13 feet, the width is about 8 feet, and the length of it is about 70 feet. So, you can kind of eyeball the size, and again, that 20 by 20 sign, really not that big for that space.
I guess, I don't know if this is within our purview. What type of messaging will be on the digital portion of the signage?
Great question. So the digital sign portion will have our product offerings, talk about the brands that we have, so Great Day Improvements. I'm not sure if you know, we have 11 brands within the organization. So we'll talk about the brands, the product offerings, as well as hiring messages for the manufacturing facility in and of itself.
Okay, thank you.
What was put, the people's photos that were on, that was literally just for mock-up, but
Sure.
we will, comply with the ordinances of not having anything super visual, fast-moving, bright, but no video. It's simply to show products, services, and hiring messages.
Okay. I suppose, was there, I mean, I understand, you know, the purpose of the pylon sign, but was there consideration of maybe a monument sign within the landscaping buffer instead, as more to like kind of tie in a little bit more rather than, since the larger signs are already on the building?
Our owner really likes the freestanding sign.
Okay.
That is, we absolutely have looked at a ground sign. There were some challenges with the ground sign, so moving that ground sign all the way to the corner and running electric all the way there, because that electric hookup is in the back of the building, we would have to run considerable more electric to that corner, which is a lot more tunneling underneath the space.
I see.
It was a consideration when First Energy was going to have us have a hookup there, but that has changed, and that is no longer a viable option for us.
Understood. Thank you.
Todd, any?
No, I mean, I too would have preferred the sign in front of the landscaping.
Yeah.
But I understand the constraints of the construction. But other than that, I think the sign will be within, with the size of the building and the size of the property and stuff, it will be in proportion, I guess. It looks really huge when you're seeing it on a piece of paper, but it's a really huge building.
Mm-hmm.
It is a really huge building. And, you know, I'm not sure, obviously you all live here, the Cummins signs across the street, they have a monument sign that is about 35 feet in the air, and that is about 15 by 15 feet high and wide. And so it is, our sign is only 5 more feet wide and 5 more feet tall than that sign, and our building is 5 times the space that their building is in terms of frontage. So just for comparison, you already have a freestanding sign that is directly across the street that is, you know, in size quite large, and our sign is only a little bit bigger than their sign. Are you all familiar with that? Because I have photos of that too.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay, great.
Any other questions for Melissa? Or the young man from Brilliant Sign? You want to stay there a minute?
Great.
So you probably did receive the review from our planner, okay? Did you have a chance to look at it, and everybody else? So because this sign, well, George, I'll let you go into your, why don't you go into your,
Sure.
your review?
Yeah, so we have a package with 6 different signs. You have 2 wall signs facing Northfield, 1 facing Alexander. All 3 of those signs are actually painted on the building, and they're a little over 500 square feet each. And while that may sound large, given the scale of the building, those signs are appropriate to the size of the building based on the sign standards in the mixed-use development district. They comply. The mixed-use development district allows you to put multiple signs on the building as long as you stay within the maximum permitted square footage, and those wall signs are within the maximum permitted square footage. So those signs are legal and conforming. Absolutely no problems with those. And so we are recommending that you go ahead and grant approval of those wall signs. You have 3 freestanding signs. One is the pole sign that you'll spend some time discussing. They are proposing a sign that's 400 square feet in area and 40 feet in height. The code in the mixed-use development district limits the maximum size to 200 square feet and the maximum height to 25 square feet. So in order to have, you've talked about alternatives. They obviously could explore alternatives and try to do something more within the code, whether that's moving it in front of the trees or a monument sign or whatever. But the sign that you actually have in front of you right now for a pole sign is not an approvable sign. You couldn't grant that approval, even if you agree with their argument. You can't grant it because you don't have authority to approve what isn't in compliance with the code. So they would either have to modify that to get it into compliance, or they have to go in front of the Board of Zoning Appeals for a variance. So our recommendation is that in terms of that pole sign, that you table that this evening because you don't have the authority to grant it. So, and then they can either modify or they can go to the Board of Zoning Appeals. That's their choice. And we'd have to go forward from there. The same thing is true with the two directional signs. They're 8 square foot in area, 4.5 feet in height. The code limits them to 4 square feet and 4 feet in height. So now they have a substantial amount of daily truck traffic. And because of that substantial amount of daily truck traffic and traffic management issues, those sort of things, it may be that the Board of Zoning Appeals would consider that, you know, a reasonable basis for granting that variance. Personally, I think I would. But again, you're not the Board of Zoning Appeals, you don't have the authority to grant that this evening, but just so it's clear, while it doesn't meet the code and you cannot approve it, I also don't think that it's necessarily an unreasonable request. But you're going to have to table that this evening, and they're going to need to go in front of the board or modify the size of the sign, and probably more likely go in front of the board because I understand the reason why they'd like to have the larger directional signs. So what you have is you can grant approval of the 3 wall signs, and I would certainly recommend that you do that this evening. And then the pole sign and the 2 directional signs, you're going to need to table pending either action by the applicant or action by the BZA.
Any questions for George?
Makes total sense.
Rob, did you kind of want to just kind of, I know there was some comparison to that sign and just kind of the sign across the street, the Cummings sign.
Oh, well, for a size comparison is fine, but just to be known, it's in a different zoning district. So, and actually this zoning district that zoning district is more stringent. You have an existing legal non-conforming sign in that district. The code was changed in '09. So although that sign exists, they keep it up and everything else, so it's permitted. In this district, I-2 district across the street, your overall height permitted would be 15 feet now. Whereas over here in the mixed-use development, it's 25 feet. So it's more stringent across the street. That is an existing legal non-conforming over there, and it is, of course, it's a different district. So just so we're on the same page.
Just as chairman, how I concur with George. George, can we, let me ask you this. So if they were to make the decision to go to zoning, okay, do they come back here, Rob?
Yeah, based on whatever the Board of Zoning Appeals does. I mean, the Board of Zoning Appeals can grant less than they ask for. Let's say, for instance, and I'll just make an example. If the BZA said, yeah, we're going to give you a height variance, but we're only going to go to 35 feet, you know, like the sign across the street instead of 40 feet. So it's very difficult for you to do anything with those two until you hear back from the Board of Zoning Appeals because you don't know what they're going to grant. Okay? Once the BZA acts, they would need to come back to you to get final approval. But we would do that based on whatever variances they received.
And the only reason I asked that, because if there was, you know, to have a little discussion now for some guidance on it, you know what I'm saying? Let's say if we talked about the sign that said, they go to the BZA, they get the variance, but then we come back here and have to decide whether we still like, you see what I'm saying?
Well, you know, in addition to the issue of the you've got a bunch of issues that we're looking at. We're looking at the location of the sign. The location of the sign is fine. It's code conforming. You're looking at the design of the sign, and if we're approving the wall signs, clearly the freestanding sign is similar, although it has the changeable copy portion of it. You can certainly indicate to them this evening whether or not you find the design, et cetera, acceptable, but you really is not in a position to grant approval.
Right, and we understand that, but if they did get approval, it would come, it would come back here, and I hate to, if we can give some guidance, I see
Well,
that.
yeah, if you have
as-
other objections, other than the things that need the variances, I think, certainly would be appropriate to give the applicant that guidance this evening, so that they would understand that going forward, so they don't go to BZA, get a variance, come back, and you still say, we don't like this, or we don't like that. I think it would be worthwhile to give them whatever guidance you can this evening.
And we
That's
would
exactly
appreciate that,
what-
because we don't want to spend any more time and money trying to design something that is not going to ultimately get approved.
Right.
Again, we've got to, we want to comply with the village, but we also, want to have signage that is going to, be on the building and, again, just be a standout in the community.
Right,
So if you have issues with that sign location, I think you should indicate that to them this evening, because
Please.
they need to know that before they go spend time and effort at the BZA.
right, that's what George, that's exactly, the point I was trying to make. As everybody knows, we're no different than we're excited about the expansion with you, Karen, whether it's a small project or a large project. It all benefits not only Walton Hills, it benefits Collier County, it benefits the state. It's all about jobs, and what's good for us is good for our neighbor, what's good for our neighbor is good for us. Just to let you know, that's why we wanted to get you guys on the agenda tonight. We understand the importance of getting things branded, and attracting jobs. That's a feat in itself to attract 225 jobs, and we understand that. But we do have to follow what's in front of us as far as the Ohio Revised Code and the law, so we can't rule on those. But I think we should have some discussion to give them some guidance. So, if the commission agrees with that, or
Sure.
is good, okay.
Who wants to start?
I've got a comment.
Yeah, go ahead, Janice.
I think the signs are designed very well. I think they're very pleasing to the eye. The painted signs on the building are very nice. The entrance and exits are very nice. This one, though, I gotta stop at this first sign. First of all, I gotta say that the trees, the buffer by Northfield, very, very important. We worked pretty hard to get that done. I understand your concerns about visibility from the street because of those trees, but this great big sign on that pole is not pleasing to me. So if there could be another design on that, I mean, the face of it is fine,
Okay.
but it's the structure of it that kind of stops me on that.
So what specific, so you're saying that you don't like the way that it is a single pole that is
Correct.
holding the sign? So
Correct.
you would prefer two poles? Like, what is your recommendation
Well, I'm not
then?
an architect, so I don't
Okay.
know, but I know that this is not pleasing
Okay.
as far as a view from the street or from our villagers. It's very stark, it's just one black pole, it's, and I agree with Alexandra, I would have loved to have seen a ground-mounted sign with maybe a little bit of brick facing or something, or stone facing would be beautiful. But if that's not feasible, I don't know what the answer is. But it's just my feedback from that.
Okay.
Yeah, and with the pole there, we can, there's always an option to kind of dress up the pole a little bit with like a pole cover. We can do something like that, and we can visit that to see if designs are local,
Okay.
to see if anything is appealing to them. in that type of design.
Okay.
So I think that there are options. We understand that the ground mounted, but just with the different avenues that we went down, just the pole sign was always where we wanted to land with the customer and the designing of it. But with that, we can absolutely, there's zero problem that we can kind of mock up some different ways of dressing up the pole a little bit, maybe even trying to get some painting of the bit, or paint the pole cover kind of to match the building a little bit, something along those lines. So that would be zero problem at all to kind of visit while we're in
Okay.
the middle of.
And, you know, pending how the Board of Zoning Appeals rules, if you could maybe mock up some photos and show us, and that would be really, really helpful to see that at the next meeting.
Yeah, absolutely, we can do that.
Thank you.
The other point I'd like to make is that there were recent trees planted around the base of that. So there are new young saplings that are placed
Okay.
around the base of that, so those things will fill out over the course of time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, go ahead. Did you want? Could you go into a little more detail about the cost? I'm trying to understand why there was so much excess cost in moving the sign forward, because it seems like the real cost would be in getting the electric through the building. Once you get it outside, I would think they would just directional drill it out to wherever the sign's gonna go, and they can do like 400 feet in a shot or something, so.
My question would be, how much power is this draw that you gotta go all the way back to the transformer? There's not an open circuit in that building?
There, I was just gonna say, so normally, with a sign of this size, we're gonna have a 240 volt, line that's gonna be running out to this, so that's where we would be coming from, the building. That's a lot of the times, that's where our customers are coming from.
Oh, no, I thought I heard earlier that we gotta go back to the transformer.
No, that was an option that we had looked at.
Oh, okay.
That was not with the illuminating company, I believe it was.
Okay.
They basically kind of, everything was put on a different area where it was kind of not an option to go with that in that area anymore. So that's where the trenching comes in, where we have to kind of come from the building in that aspect.
So the power just has to come from any part of the building or a specific location from the building?
Where the power is, I believe, I believe it's on a different part of the building where we're gonna have to run it through and then auger it out to the location of the sign there.
Mrs. Carter, our associate
Where, where is it along like, I mean, I'm just trying to understand, where it needs to be routed from, sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, right now we have electric coming from the back of the building. That's where First Energy chose to pull power from.
Which part, like the northern part, the southern part, the middle part? I mean, I know the east, but like which part specifically of the building? You can come point to me, yeah.
We're the northeastern section of the building.
It's in the northeastern.
Northeast corner.
Northeast corner, okay,
On the eastern side.
got it.
So on your page 1, where it says painted wall sign B25-1208,
Yep,
to the right of that, that is where that power is coming from.
got it, thank you. I mean, I certainly would prefer consideration of a monument sign potentially along Northfield Road in the landscape buffer. I think that the very large signage on the corner, on the sides of the building are enough to identify that it's what the building is. For messaging, a monument sign would be great and much more pleasing. It's also like, this isn't a highway. We don't necessarily need pylon signs. I know that it's a big building, and I know that there are other instances of pylon signs on that road, but the point of the zoning code and the mixed-use district is that we want to maybe change the character of that a little bit, because we don't like those. So I would take that into consideration.
Yeah, absolutely, we definitely will. I know that we had, as I kind of stated earlier, we did go through a very extensive designing process with that. When we were kind of looking at the monument, it just looked very small. compared to having a little bit of a taller sign that to our eyes, and everybody's eyes are a little bit different and design aspect, but to us, we thought that it looked very much more fitting to have the pole sign, a little bit of a higher sign, and visibility to us along with the other elements of the power and everything else. When we went down the line of checking off boxes of where we were putting the sign, this was, and I'm not saying that we're not taking your consideration or into consideration your comment, but this is kind of where we landed with everything on that aspect.
The other challenge we have with that corner, again, is all of the trees and the shrubbery that have been placed. And so to have that sign visible from Northfield and Alexander Road, putting it on an angle is very difficult without having to knock down a bunch of that stuff.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm not clear. I don't know how much distance there is between the sidewalk and,
Not much.
yeah.
So if you look
I
at
see the Weston
picture,
sign in this one picture.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
if
what
you
I'm
look
looking
at picture number 2, you will see the pole, the corner of the building, and all of the trees there. There is no space to put a monument sign on the ground there without having to knock down all those trees. Please. We have our landowner.
So,
Sure.
as I think most of you know, me, Matt Montecalvo, I represent the landowner. Picture 2, I think is the one you mentioned? Okay. So if you are looking at that picture 2, and you see that very tall utility pole right there on the corner,
This one, sorry, page
Oh.
3 is the Northfield and
Yep,
Alexander side.
yep, page 3 is another perfect example. You can kind of see that,
Mine
page
are
3.
all out of order actually right now. Which title is it?
Northwest corner of building from intersection Alexander Road, Northfield Road.
Got it.
Okay, so you'll see that landscaping there, you see the large trees around there. So one of the things that I wanted to point out, Mayor Colograph mentioned this earlier. We spent a lot of time and consideration for preserving the trees that were along they're older trees, they're sizable. We went through as the developer and we enhanced, prior to Great Day coming to us to lease, we enhanced that landscape area as well as along the edges of both Northfield and Alexander Road. So this was very intentional to create a buffer, not necessarily a visual buffer per se, but a buffer for, the traffic and any of the activities that might be going on at the building. So that was a very intentional move between the developer and the village. We really wanted that to be present. The other thing that I'll point out is that intersection of Alexander Road and Northfield Road, we actually do not have rights to put signage there. We've actually deeded rights, we've deeded an easement to the village. That entire, yes, that entire corner, we actually don't have rights to put anything there. So that's not an option for us. And then unfortunately for our tenant, as a landlord, we've actually reserved our rights for a monument sign at the Alexander Road intersection. So there really isn't anywhere for them to put a monument sign, even if they wanted to. So that was something else I thought we should point out, so that we're all sort of working from the same basis. So I just want to make sure that we all have this context before we start, discussing all the various pieces, parts. We worked really hard with the village to get to where we are right now, so I don't want to see anything, torched, so to speak.
Sure.
Right, and Alexander, and I'm glad you explained that, Matt. Everybody, the rest of us were on the commission at the time, and kind of what the concern was and what our thinking was, and I think your thinking was that sign would actually name the industrial park.
Correct.
It wouldn't be that sign.
Or all of our tenants.
Right.
Maybe
Right,
not,
yeah,
maybe not us,
right.
but all of our tenants.
It wasn't specifically going to be a individual sign
Correct.
for one building, unless
Okay.
the same tenant had all the buildings.
Sure.
That,
makes sense.
but
Which
we
we'd be
already
more than
know
happy
right
if
now.
anybody would like to do that.
Right, but
But
we already have two at this time. So, I'm glad you made that point, with that, because that it is true, and, so.
Okay.
And I think and Janice, I think you made a good point there. I think just you know, I don't think it would take much to enhance that sign a little bit. Since we're kind of not in favor, I mean, we're not against the height, is that correct? We're not really, Alexander, maybe you got a little problem with the
Oh.
size, are we?
I mean, it is double the
the height and size kind of where we're at? And if we're okay with that, and we just gotta maybe make it a little more aesthetically pleasing. I think when you have a rendering like this, where it's more like a cut and paste, and I'm just kind of, and you see that, you get this perception. I even think if there was a little bit of some landscaping around it, or even a little wall, you know what I mean, like, which isn't, you know, with, like the pavers, you make a small wall, circle around it with a little sandstone, you got some flowers in it and stuff. It really would change that look there. You know what I mean? When you look at it, you just see like, it. I guess the good comparison for me, it almost looks like a temporary sign. Okay, if you took a look at that, it almost looks like, would you guys kind of agree with that?
Yes,
Almost like
definitely.
a temporary sign. Where if you had something, you know, and I don't think the commission would be looking for this, you know, thing, but just a little dress up, I think, would help. I'm grasping a little more, I think, knowing that there is some really large trees right there. So I think if you're actually going north on Northfield is when you kind of really see the whole thing. But when you're going east on Alexander, or actually going south on Northfield, I don't know if you're gonna see a real lot of it anyways. Are you? Is it gonna be over the?
I'm sure they're hoping.
I hope, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
No,
the
but
point, right?
I'm just trying to kind of visualize it a little more.
Sure.
There is definitely tree blockage from certain angles and certain vantage points. So I've driven Northfield and Alexander many times, both directions, and you know, trying to visualize where the sign is going to be. There are times when the tree line where you will absolutely see the sign, and then there are times you drive by, just you go a little further north or east or west or south, and you can't see it. So it is not visible 100% of the time in any angle, in any direction, because of the tree cover. And if all you're asking for is for us to dress up the pole and add some additional shrubbery or flowers or something around the base, we can absolutely comply with that.
Well, I just want to understand where you're at.
I know, but we're not, and we still have to go to BZA.
And then it
Totally
still
get it.
comes back here.
But as long as they say yes, and if you are saying you're fine with the placement, you're saying you're okay with the size, the only thing that you would like us to do is dress up the pole and, you know, add some greenery at the bottom.
But they still come back here, is that correct, George?
Yes, they
Still
have.
come back here, so we're trying to help you out and give you.
No, and I appreciate that.
I don't think we're 100% saying, you know,
We'd like to see
zoning
something.
says okay,
Absolutely.
you know, everything is great. Well, it's really not. We still need to see
Okay.
what it's going to be. It's still very, very large to me, no matter what you do. So I would just like to, you know, give that more thought. For me, it's not like a done deal if they say, okay, you know, just put a little something around me. Just want to make that clear. Okay, but we want to work with you. We absolutely want to work with you to, so everyone's happy.
Go ahead, Ray.
Yeah, Mayor, I agree with, you know, we're not saying just put the pavers around it. You know, it's looking at some other options, and going back to the conversation that we just had, you know, the commission and the village worked together real well, and kind of it was already kind of embedded in our heads that monument signs was kind of going to be the way, what we were going to be looking for. So that's why this kind of comes as a little bit a surprise. Because we kind of, you know, from our previous conversations, monument signs, and then if you look at the tenant next door, you know, they have a very large monument sign as well as building signage. Now, they don't have tree cover, but they, you know, they did some other things back there, and you can see that very well. So that's kind of why we're having this conversation, because we were already of a certain mindset, what the future would be looking like. So I do have a question for Matt, because you talked about the potential monument sign for the complex itself.
Yes.
Can you talk about where that might be envisioned as it relates to?
At the one particular location that we know of where it would go if we were to decide to do that would be at that Alexander Road entrance. So if you're, you know, we've got the traffic light there at the Alexander Road entrance. It would be on, if you're going into the development, it would be on the right side. So it would actually be, unironically, it would actually be in the same location as their northeastern traffic sign, which we've already talked about, and we'll move that for them at that time if that comes to pass. But that's where it would be.
So you, up Alexander a little bit, you're saying?
No, it would be right there at the intersection. If
You go to back of building from Alexander Road, photograph.
Yeah.
That is the light to Alexander and the entrance to the parking area. So the monument sign would be on, in the grass in that area.
So it would be on Alexander Road, not the corner.
Yes, I'm sorry. When I said corner, I was talking about the corner of the entrance into the development and Alexander Road. We don't have any rights to that corner of Alexander and Northfield. We've already given those back to the village.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hence why the monument sign won't work there.
And we've reserved our rights to put our monument sign in that location, so that's not an option for Great Date.
So again, I know you were expecting a monument sign, but that is not possible.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that answers my question.
Rob, did you want to add anything, or George, anything to this conversation?
No, I think you're providing them with some good direction. I think they're understanding what you might be expecting when they come back. Obviously, they've got a case to make in front of the Board of Zoning Appeals, and I think, you know, but I think it's worthwhile for them to understand, besides getting the height and area variance, that you may have some other design issues and that they need to address those design issues.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if the point about dressing up the bottom of the pole makes sense, something, but yeah, if this should move on to zoning and they seek out their appeal, and if granted, then they could come back with a rendition of what that looks like at the bottom of the pole and how that can get dressed up for final approval from the planning.
I mean, I'm with Janice on that wouldn't exactly satisfy me, just having some landscaping at the bottom, but it's up to the easy.
Right, but, well, they still have to come back here.
I know.
And we have time for that. And we, anything, what would, are you looking for anything in particular? I don't mean to put you on the spot, you know, you have time for that,
No,
I
you're
just.
fine. I mean, I agree with her also that it's large, it's twice the size of what our permitted, or what our zoning says is permitted, so that's a significant variance, to request, in my opinion. Especially because half of it is like, you know, you said a light up, moving advertisement, constant advertisement. So I would like to see it reduced in some way. I don't know what that means, if it means both parts reduced or just one of them taken away. I think that the signage on the side of the building is honestly enough for the actual brand, because it's massive and you can even see it better than you can on the pylon from the roadway.
Can I make a comment to that? So Great Day Improvements is one organization. We have 11 different brands that we manufacture and that we provide to the community.
Can you share, let's just share some of those brands, could just, I know we've talked about it and we as a whole here, but I don't think it's a bad thing just to share, what kind of, a little bit about the company.
Sure, that would be great. So
Minimalist.
Great Day Improvements is the home improvement company you haven't heard of yet. I'm sure you've seen our television commercials. The Great Day was started because we acquired several different brands. Patio enclosures, sunrooms was the first company that Great Day Improvements acquired. They went on to acquire Stanek Windows in 2013. After Stanek Windows, they acquired Hartshorn Custom Contracting and then Apex Energy Solutions, as well as Champion Windows and Doors, Home Exteriors, Universal Windows Direct, The Bath Authority, K Designers, Your Home Improvement Company, among others. Those are the well-known brands. And so the one thing that monument sign, or the freestanding sign does give us is the ability to explain the family of brands. And that is something that we are working hard to project that image out into the community, because not many people are aware of the relationship between all of the brands. And that is something that we are trying to project out into the community.
Yeah. And
So
that-
just having the Great Day Improvement sign as a static sign doesn't give us that ability to do so.
That makes sense. The other option is to remove the static sign and then have just the advertising sign that would then have a Great Day Improvements logo potentially come across the screen occasionally also. Because, like I said, you already got the signage on the building. It's not like people don't know what the brand is. And maybe part of that, I don't know if there's lighting on the building for that signage. That could also be a consideration for the building, but I don't think that, I'm not a fan of approving a sign that's twice the size of what we say we want. So, those are my comments.
Where I'm at with it, you know, as chairman, I don't have a problem with the size of it or the height of it, just because of where it's at in the location there with the trees and that part of Alexander Road. To me, you know, I'm so happy just to have that, me and Tom talk about, have the barbed wire down. I can't wait till the Weston trailer is gone, okay? I can't wait till the temporary Weston signs are down. And no offense to Weston, they've been a great partner with us along with Scannell and DiGeronimo, so that isn't it. But just aesthetically, so some permanent branding and professional branding, I think is going to be an improvement, and probably one of the biggest improvements there. It's going to be one of our larger employees. A little bit of a statement is, you know, thing. But I do understand what everybody's saying. I live right around the corner, Janice, like you. Probably will see that sign the most of anybody in this room here, along with Todd and Ray too. And you will too. I'm not cutting you out,
I'll go
but I'm
down there a
just,
lot, sure, yeah.
kind of
It's just there.
right. So I think with a little dressing up, I would be good with it. But I'd like to see that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would like.
I also would be, I think with the elevation difference between where the building sits and where the sign's gonna sit, that's gotta be over 10 feet, I think. I'm not as concerned about the height, and I suppose you could shrink the Great Day a little bit on the top of the sign maybe, if we needed to cut down the square footage a little bit, I don't know, but I'm more interested if you could make it look prettier at the base. I would be okay with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it, like, as the mayor says, it's just great to have your company coming in there, so.
We're excited to be here. I mean, we really hope that, you know, you want to collaborate with us. I mean, we want to have pleasing signs, but we also, you know, want to have signs that are going to showcase the brand, let us showcase the products that we offer, the services that we offer, tell the story, as well as our employment message, because we are going to be an anchor employee, an anchor tenant here in the village.
No, and we're excited about that. But, and you, Alexander really stated it well, when we compared it to the place across the street, we're actually putting in a sidewalks down down Northfield Road. We're really trying to improve the aesthetics of our industrial area. And that's why when you made that point, that sign ordinance changed in 2013, the other one changed in 2009 because of that, and we've really been trying, and so with the partnership with that group, the three partners, and of course you guys and Cardinal Health, those two buildings in an industrial park is really helping kind of rejuvenate our industrial area. So we're happy about that. And we can't vote on it, the zoning
Okay,
board
yeah.
will vote on it.
Yep.
It was just give some guidance, so. Is there anything else we'd like to add?
Just
To-
on that,
Go ahead.
on that note, yeah, I mean, just to remember, like, once it's there, just like with the coming sign. It gets grandfathered in, it's legacy infrastructure at that point, so, I would just wanna keep that in mind, when we approve things that, don't comply. That's all.
Well, the zoning board would approve the compliance of it, and then we would approve the aesthetics, basically, of it.
Yep.
Is that a correct way of stating that, George? Let me ask you this. If you were to go before zoning with the existing sign, whatever, you make changes or whatever you do or don't, and they do grant you approval, and you come back here, would you have more realistic rendering, maybe, something that would help with the present, give us a, and I'll tell you why. And Alexander, we went through that a little bit, and Matt, you'll understand that. Part of zoning and planning is it's very hard, and you probably know this better than anybody, to, you gotta have a good vision sometimes to picture that final result. And we've gone through that. Some of the renderings went from very basic to some detail when we went through the beginning of this development, and it really gave us an idea to really see what it's like, with the tree line, the thing, kind of give us a thing, and I think that would probably help. Would you guys
Sure.
agree with that too?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think, and we certainly as a commission, it has helped us in the past. So, anything else that we want to add to that, or? As a representative of Brilliant Signs.
Yep.
Okay, and you've probably done hundreds of them. Would that be a fair statement?
Yep.
And I know you're working for them and stuff. I don't know if you can answer it or not answer it. How's your feeling on the sign? You feel the sign aesthetically would be more pleasing than what we see in the picture?
Yeah.
You think we would be happier than what, like you always say, a picture isn't the same as seeing it.
Right, yeah, no, absolutely, and to answer that question, I think everybody's comments tonight were very well. This is gonna help us kind of come up with a little bit of ways to dress up the sign base specifically. We always recommend kind of doing some type of landscaping underneath, whether that be a retaining wall, just a landscaping bed, just some shrubbery. Mainly being landscapers, you don't want the grass cutting, the mowers hitting the bottom of the sign or anything like that. And that's one of the main aspects of that. Also the look. So anything that we kind of design, as much as we like to listen to what the customer wants, we also want to kind of pull them back and be realistic as well. This has gone through a very, very extensive, as I mentioned a few times, design process with people that have been at Brilliant Sign for over 35 years now. And everybody is very on board thinking that this is going to be the best, most visible option for this area and for what they're wanting. So we had kind of, like I said, we kind of went back and forth with a few different things, but this is where we kind of always landed back and looked at. With the pole cover, that is something that I think that is a good idea, to dress up the pole a little bit, to kind of make it look a little bit nicer than just a singular pole. So that's no problem at all. We can definitely look at that. And then in the aspect, as you're asking about more detailed renderings of what it's going to look like out in the field, that's something we can definitely do. Our art room, our main artist in our art room has been there for 35 years specifically. He can kind of bring these photo drops and kind of put it where you're kind of seeing it at different angles and stuff like that, as well as adding in, if needed, the landscaping, depending on what we're kind of, the idea is. As a company, we're not specifically landscapers, but we try and show what we're thinking. And then at that time, if the landscaping is thought to be a little bit different, we can always change that. We'll just kind of put that into a little bit of a rendering so everybody can kind of see that we do think that everything that was said today is a good idea. We're trying to work with everybody, and we want to make sure that everybody's happy at the end of the day, moving forward, and that we get as close as possible to what we want.
I'll tell you why, and I mentioned that, in the more, you know, I spent some time looking at it, and you mentioned it, between the elevation of the building and Todd, you mentioned elevation of the sign, and that being your backdrop, I don't know if the sign's gonna look that big, or look, you know what I mean, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, if there wasn't a building there and you have that sign there, but when you look, you're kind of seeing, you know, you're seeing the size of that building too with that backdrop. So I think that would really kind of help us with that, so.
Yep, and I apologize at the beginning there. I don't know why I got a little stage fright there. I've done 100 of these meetings before, so I got up here, I kind of got like stunned up in my words. But so with that, the property being so unique with such a big building, that's kind of what my words were trying to say. That the sizing of the sign, it seems huge on paper, and it does even to a sign company looking at it. But with the size of the building, the size of the property, being at a corner lot, you're kind of in a very unique situation. We understand there are codes and for going for variances and stuff like that, is for unique situations. If this was just, say, a restaurant on the side of a corner that had not much of a building, and we're trying to propose a 40-foot pylon sign for a small restaurant like that, we understand that's not realistic as a sign company. So we'd reel them right back in with that. With this is something that a building of this size and caliber, it is where we think is realistic for this application here. And with the size concerns and everything like that, we take that all into account, and as a team, we appreciate those comments. It's, as a signage industry, we want to hear what everybody's thinking, everything like that. But I think that with the additional photo renderings, I think that will be very helpful for everybody to kind of visualize a little bit better. As you're stating, that it's not going to look nearly as big as what everybody's thinking in this.
It won't. And with the building, the trees, the elevation, I know it looks large on paper. It is going to look relatively small with everything once it's in place, truly.
Okay.
And then look at the tractor trailer for sizing.
Matt, don't tell anybody from Weston I said.
It's not me you have to worry about. Terry's already texted.
That's the problem with these YouTube videos, right?
It's all on.
It's all there.
It's actually not Weston's trailer. It's Skinnell's or the other company.
No, I thought Weston has the one on the corner.
Weston's got the sign.
The Geronimo.
Yeah. The Geronimo. You guys have that.
Terry's the only one that doesn't have it. I should get a sign.
Yeah, Have any more questions for them, those three, at this time? Terry, did you want to comment? Okay. I think, and I'll end it with this. Melissa, you made a statement that, you know, the business that Great Day is in is home improvement. Okay, so you mentioned that the brand, the leadership there is concerned about the look.
Absolutely.
Okay, I just kind of
Brand is everything to us, and we are trying to develop a recognizable, clean, and professional brand. And so look and feel is critical for us. Truly. We're in customer homes every single day. And so we want everything to look professional, from the buildings to the people that go into our homes to the projects that we do. So we are not going to, we're not going to be sloppy when we do this. The look is very important to us.
okay. George?
I think we've kind of discussed it. I think at this point, my suggestion is you go ahead and make a motion to approve the 3 wall signs and to table the freestanding signs and let these guys get on with doing the next step.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Just a real quick question, just because I know we briefly touched on it. The directional signs, just so we know, was there any comments on those? I know we were mainly talking about the freestanding sign, but I didn't know if the directional signs with the sizing or look of those, if there was any problems before.
As chairman, I didn't have no problems with them. It's just the only thing that came up in the plan review, they didn't meet the ordinance.
Yep.
For size.
Yes, they were a little bigger for visibility with all the tractor trailer traffic.
Yeah. So, and I just want to make sure nobody had any.
Yeah, George.
Yep.
The volume of trucks and the traffic safety. So, but, you know, I think we're at the point where let's move them on and let them get to that point.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yep, thank you. I just want to make sure. Thank you.
Okay. I can make a motion. Okay. And George, if this isn't right, you can critique me. So it'd be I'd like to make a motion to approve only the wall signs as submitted. A motion to table with respect to the square footage and height of the pole sign, sign 1, and the directional signs as described in the memo by George Smerden dated 9/29/25. That will work. Is there a second?
Second.
Yeah. Janice? All right. Ready?
Give it to John.
Seconded by Janice St. John. Vote on the motion. Alexander Long. Are you okay with the motion?
Yes.
Then yes. Okay. Todd? Yes. Janice St. John.
Yes.
Raymond Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, so, and you guys are you good
Yep.
to understand the motion and everything?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Awesome.
I think it would be beneficial, maybe, I know me and Rob had some conversations. He hasn't met, the gentleman there.
Joliet?
Yeah, maybe talk to Rob and exchange some numbers. It's not a bad thing to, you know, have, if Rob, needs to talk to you. You're more or less handling the construction project?
Yeah, I'm more the project manager for the move itself and the layout of inside the building.
Okay,
Closer to the mic.
great.
Tell them to move closer to the mic.
Yes, I'm the project manager for the move into the building and the layout of it as well.
Okay, great. I think it's to our benefit and your benefit, that just kind of, Rob can give you his card or exchange numbers, and then, it helps, or, to have a contact there, and stuff. Otherwise, we'll probably call Matt and bother him. But, good. We're actually good. Thank you.
Yeah, Thank you,
Thank
really
you.
appreciate your time tonight.
And
Thank you.
look forward to seeing you back here.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a great day.
And you're welcome to stick around, and Terry, don't laugh there. That is Tom Jordan, our economic development consultant, here with us tonight with his son. Look how excited he is to be here with Dad. Okay? Was this better than the game? Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I'll have Mary give you a contact about the others. Okay, thank you. Okay. Isn't it nice though, we had 2 applicants with good things going on?
Yeah.
It's a great day.
Yeah, it's I'm just trying to get everything in place for our next item here. Okay, so we have item C, which is 02504, review of proposed chapter 1276 alternative energy facilities. I know, Alexander, you've been weighing in on this quite a bit, which is
Sorry.
great. No, it's all good. Good night, Tom. Good night. You gonna introduce your son to us all?
Oh, this is my son, actually Thomas Jordan Jr.
Oh.
George Sperrigan on the board.
Hello. Can I ask you one question? Is he keeping the glass jar filled with money?
When I come home, yeah.
Oh! I always tease Tom about that. When we have older kids, you always have somewhere where they can go and grab some money.
Oh, there you go.
He complains to me that it's mostly
called
empty. And as they get older, it's harder to keep it filled because more things become expensive.
Zelle, Cash App, that's what that is.
Are you still in college or you're?
Yeah, I go to Xavier in Cincinnati. Philosophy, politics, and the public major.
Oh, gosh.
I do some work at the Cincinnati Law Department currently.
Good.
And they were reviewing the sign ordinance. Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, maybe you'll be a law solicitor and sit at a dais someday.
Yeah.
Are you thinking about being an attorney?
Yeah.
Janice St. John here on our board, she's an attorney. Yeah,
That's great.
we're very fortunate.
Thank you.
Okay, both of you have a good evening.
Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
I always tease Tom. That thing's always empty. I said, well, you're gonna have to get another job. So we do have, just to kind of give you a background, council we have discussed the solar panels and alternative energy. We talked about it a while back in council, correct, Ray? And I think a little bit in the infrastructure committee. When was it, George? I think, because you
I
the
worked
initial
with,
draft, I think might have been through like,
Nagel's committee, yeah.
was it through a little bit after COVID
Yeah.
or something?
Oh.
And it was when we were addressing the bed and breakfasts, we were addressing something, or multifamily, some of the group homes, we had quite a bit of discussion with that, so
Yes.
we're really focusing on that, and,
Got sidetracked.
yeah, we did, we got a little sidetracked, but now, because of a lot of incentives for, solar panels, it's kind of come, to the head again of the infrastructure committee and council. So, we'd like to get something in place. What we're looking for is, for the planning commission to take a look at it. If they're good with it, we would make a motion to move it forward to the council, forward to council in draft form for them to approve an ordinance for it. The importance of it is we have nothing on the books right now. So we'd like to get something on the books, and then if we tweak it and look at it, we can always do that. But we'd like to, I know George, myself, and Rob have talked, and Ray has been involved in this with the infrastructure and council. We'd like to get something on the books. So we do have George's review here. George, you just kind of want
I
to
just
share
think,
where we're at with this?
as you point out, having nothing on the books puts us in kind of an odd position. If someone wants to do something, Rob's in no position to approve it. If he was going to approve it, he has no design criteria in which to measure it. None of that's good. By not having anything on the books, you're denying your residents the opportunity to maybe do something that they'd like to do. And so, to me, it would make more sense for you to get something on the books, you know, get some basic criteria, which is what this is. And as you apply it, if we need to tweak it, we can always tweak it or modify it or update it. But having nothing, I think, is doing a disservice for the residents. I think it makes more sense to have some basic standards and to be able to have someone pursue, whether it's solar panels on their roof or you know, for one of the businesses, if they wanted to do a wind turbine. Right now, none of that's available because you have no standards.
And George, can you kind of talk about what you have in front of us here?
Now, this is I have worked with a number of communities to prepare these kind of standards. So this is probably looks fairly familiar to you because something very similar to this has been adopted in numerous communities in Northeast Ohio. A number of cities have done it. And so, for instance, Beechwood has something very similar to this. Warrensville has something very similar to this. And everybody kind of clusters around certain basic criteria. What you're going to see different is because communities are different, they have different lot sizes, they have different zoning districts. Those are the things that start to spread things out and make a difference. And so the same thing that would apply in a community with very small, very tight lots isn't going to be the thing that applies in a community that has, you know, minimum acre lots. So the basic criteria has been there, but what we've tried to do is adjust it for what the nature and the character of the community is. I think what you have here, based on the work with the committee, and you were part of that, and I know, you know, Mr. Spitznagel was part of that. I think what we have here is something that we believe would be effective and work well for the village. We're not going to know how well that's going to be until we start applying it, and we see what happens from there. But I know that, you know, Rob has dealt with the fact that people have been coming to him asking, and he has nothing for them. And so I think this would move us forward. I think you need to have something. And I don't think saying no is, given, you know, the way we are in terms of energy today, I don't think saying no is the right answer.
Right, and I agree with that, and I'm glad you mentioned Mr. Spitznagel, because I know, Alexander, I think you and Brian have kind of been texting, not texting, emailing a little bit.
Yeah, there's a little bit there.
Yeah, no, it's good.
He was chairing
So
that committee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's concern, so I agree 100%. You know.
I think that makes total sense, yeah.
Anybody want to add anything to it or think anything? I mean, we don't have to, I mean, if you want to go through page by page, or if you want to just, you know, I'm very comfortable with it.
We got pretty far in the review before, but as you mentioned, there were some other issues that hit the village, and you shifted to those other issues, and this sort of got backburnered.
Yeah.
But it's time to bring it back forward again, I think.
Yeah. The only, when I was looking at the three things that I noted, but I don't think that they're a huge issue or things that can't be fixed later, was for freestanding solar, how it affects lot coverage requirements, because we have large lots, but we do have kind of stringent lot coverage requirements, I think, in most of our zoning districts, and then how they affect stormwater calculations too for runoff. And then the last thing was the building code references in here, because our ordinances reference like the 2003 building code or something. That was the only other thing. And we're to like 2024 now.
Right.
At the state level. Yep.
Oh, 2025.
No, the building code from last year is a job, yeah, 2024 IBC. Yeah.
Okay.
So those might be outdated a little bit.
Good, so those are things we should probably tweak in this, change in this document, if they're there.
Yeah, if possible, but it's kind of like preemptive. I think that you could probably just go through with it, and then if it comes up, we could look at it. It's up to you guys.
Yeah, because what you would be doing is recommending that the law director go ahead and prepare legislation for council. And, you know, it won't be the last bite at the apple. Council's gonna have an opportunity again, and so some of these things can get addressed as the legislation goes through. But I think it would be helpful to just get something moving in terms of legislation.
Yep.
Right. Well, with that said, okay, when the law director puts the legislation together, this will probably would be an exhibit, okay?
Yes.
Okay.
That's probably the easiest way for him to do the legislation.
Right.
Is
So,
we're adopting this chapter as attached.
yes, should, in that legislation, it could reference the newer building code.
Yeah, we can fix that.
Yeah,
That's easy enough to do. I can get with John and we can get that.
Yeah,
signed.
it's,
right,
it's a simple
Those are
change,
good changes.
yeah,
just to say current building code instead
Yes.
of.
yeah,
Yes.
no, that's a great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's,
Mhm.
and that could be right,
We'll take care of that. I mean, your recommendation to have the law director prepare the legislation can include making those modifications when he prepares the legislation, and I'll get with him and we'll get that done.
yeah.
I don't have a problem with that.
No, I think that's good. What else? Anything else, Alexander, that was more?
No, those were the major, just a couple things, yeah.
What about you, Todd? Any?
They don't have anything to add.
I don't really, that's why I appreciate it.
I'm good.
Okay. So, I guess we would just need a motion to, move.
To request the law director to prepare legislation for council's consideration.
And for chapter 1276, right?
Correct.
Who would like to make that motion? I can make it, nobody else, but if somebody else wanted it different, maybe that.
I don't care.
I don't remember what
I
he
can
said.
try to make a motion, but Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we ask the law director to pass legislation. Or
No,
to
create
write
legislation.
Create legislation
To move to the council.
to move this towards council and, I don't know.
For adoption, right?
Yeah.
Would that be suffice?
There you go.
That's why it's
fine.
motions.
No, that works. Is there a second?
Second,
Second. Let's vote on the motion. Alexander Long,
yes.
Todd Toles,
Yes.
Janice St. John,
Yes.
Raymond Weedon.
Yes.
Mayor Colgraf, yes. Okay, we'll move that along. I should have probably, I apologize, I probably should have started this way with the voting. I did.
I was like, is she going in alphabetical? I don't know.
You know what it is? It's habit. And I felt bad because I put you, but it's a habit. That's the way we go in council.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, am I supposed to say I? Like, I don't know.
And after I did it, I thought, oh, I should have probably went with Ray.
Felt like a deer in headlights each time, but it's
That
cool. I
was-
got my practice in.
I think, I'd like to, let's see what we got here. Any other business? If not, I'd like to ask for a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn the Planning Commission meeting of October 2nd, 2025, 8:43 PM.
Is there a second?
Second.
Todd Torres. Vote on the motion.
Yes.
Alexander Law.
Oh, sorry, yes.
Okay.
I was too eager that time.
Todd
Yes.
Torres. Janice St. John.
Yes.
Raymond Whedon.
Yes.
Mayor Colgraf, yes. Thank you, everybody. Meeting adjourned at 8:43. Let me end this real quick here.
Sure.
How do I end broadcast? How do I stop streaming?